Hello friends, this is Ashwin. Today I am going to show you another amazing chess game of Mikhail Tal. The game was played against Trinagov in 1964 at Amsterdam, Netherlands. Mikhail Tal with the white pieces started the game with pawn to e4 and now pawn to g6 by Tal's opponent, and we have modern defense on the board. Pawn to d4, bishop to g7, knight to c3, pawn to d6, knight to f3, pawn to c6. Tal played this bishop to g5 and black played this queen to b6, attacking this b2 pawn. And in the opening stage, when you try and grab this b2 or b7 with your queen, are also known as the poison pawn, and often the grabber can't digest those pawns. Queen to d2 was played, queen capture on b2. Now rook is under attack, so rook to b1 attacking the queen, queen to a3, and now Tal played this bishop to c4 preparing castle, and then rook to e1 or d1 maybe. Queen to a5 was played, and here Tal just castled. Pawn to e6 was played by black, and I think black should pay more attention towards the development. I mean, this knight to d7, another knight to f6, and then castling short. But anyways, we have this pawn to e6 on the board. Rook f to e1 by Mikhail Tal, placing the rook against the opponent king. Pawn to a6 was played, and one more thing here, this pawn to b5 can't be played because of this knight capture b5, beautiful sacrifice, because queen capture d2 can be made by this knight capture d6 check, a temporary piece sacrifice. After this king to d7, bishop capture on d2, and now king capture on d6 can be made by this bishop to f4 check, king d7, and now bishop capture on b8, where Tal is having an extra pawn plus ongoing attack. So definitely good position for white. But anyways, we have this rook f to e1, and now pawn to a6 by black. Tal played this bishop to f4, attacking this with pawn on d6, and here black should defend this pawn with his queen and queen to c7. But black played this pawn to e5, and this is fundamental mistake. I mean, black is opening up lines against Mikhail Tal without finishing his development. So definitely this is suicide. Mikhail Tal played this pawn capture on d5, opening up this d file for his queen, and most probably the another rook will come to d1. D capture on e5 was played, and here comes the most amazing move of the game, and that is queen to d6. What a brilliant move! And this prepares this rook to d1 followed by a checkmate on d8. I mean, if there is no queen on say a5, another threat could be to play this knight to d5, which forces to open up the e file. Otherwise, simply this knight to c7 would be winning a queen. I will show you every variation, don't worry. Here black played this queen capture c3, but we must have to look for this pawn capture on f4, this bishop, and another quiet move like knight to e7. We will see one by one. First pawn capture on f4 can be made by this knight d5. As I told you, this is the biggest threat. I mean, knight to c7 is a checkmate threat. So queen capture on c7 is almost forced after knight to c7. And say you are capturing my knight with the pawn, then comes this pawn capture on d5, opening up this rook file with check is just winning. I mean, this is just crushing attack. Bishop to e6 is forced, and now pawn capture e6, pawn to f6 closing the line, then rook capture on b7, and white is winning. There is no doubt about that. So after queen to d6, say black is playing some quiet move like knight to e7 and castling short, but here Mikhail Tal can play this knight capture on e5, threatening this bishop capture on f7, and this bishop capture on e5 can be made by this bishop capture on e5 or even queen capture on e5. And say black is castling here, and then comes this queen capture on e7. Unfortunately, Tal's knight is untouchable. I mean, if you capture Tal's knight on c3, then comes this bishop capture on f7 check, say king h8, knight capture on g6 check, pawn capture on g6 force, and now queen to h4, and checkmate on next move. Bishop to h6, and now queen capture on h6 is just checkmate. So after this queen to d6 amazing move, you simply cannot capture Tal's bishop. You cannot play any quiet move like knight to e7. So black decided to went for this queen capture on c3. But now what? How would you develop attack from here? Here comes this rook to d1, brilliant move threatening this checkmate. So knight to d7 was played in the game. and say you are playing a move like this bishop to f6, try to cover this d8 square, but then white can simply play this knight capture on e5, and there is no defense to this bishop capture on f7. I mean, this bishop capture on e5 is impossible because queen d8 checkmate. So practically you are forcing black to give up his queen. So this position is completely winning for Mikhail Tal. So after rook e to d1, black played this knight to d7, physically blocking this d8 square. Mikhail Tal played this brilliant move, bishop capture on f7 check, and you cannot decline the sacrifice. I mean, if you play king to d8 and then knight to g5 with an idea of this knight to e6 unstoppable checkmate, even if black sacrifices his queen, still black cannot prevent this knight to e6 checkmate. For example, this queen to c4, then comes this rook to d5, blocking queen's way, and now knight to e6 is a checkmate threat. So say queen capture on d5, then pawn capture d5, followed by unstoppable knight e6. So black has to take this bishop on the f7. So king capture on f7 was played. Now comes this knight to g5 check, king to e8, the only move, and now queen to e6. And this time black's, Tal's opponent decided to resign here. I mean, see, there is only one move, that is king to d8, and now this knight to f7 check, and after king to c7, this queen to d6 is checkmate. So friends, how was the video? And I hope you did enjoy this one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.